Hi, my name is Haley, and I'm here to help you learn more about MyMap. So to get to MyMap, there's a few ways to do it, but the easiest way is mymap.byu.edu. So that's where I'm at right now. It should navigate directly to this page. On Student Summary, it'll have your academic programs, your credits, and your profile, your picture, your personal information. And so right here, we've got 3 tabs that encompass MyMap. We'll start in the Student Summary, just so you can just see what's going on. As a student, a current student, you should have a primary major, which mine here is communications, and my advisement center is right here. If I have any questions about making class changes, choosing future courses, graduation plans, this is who I contact. If this major is open, then that is our office. Then we've got down here our credits. This is something you don't really have to look at very much. It's taken care of in the progress report. Okay, if you want to change your major ever, you can go down here to change major request and submit a request to switch to a different major. Then you'll meet with that new major advisement center and they'll determine whether you can go into that major or not. Most majors don't require you to apply to a program and compete against others to get in. We call those limited enrollment, but those are some of the majors that we have at BYU. This is the Register tab. So this is where you will be adding all of your classes. So when you are registering for the semester, you'll take a look at your date. So right here for spring and summer of 2022, my date was March 1st of 2022. And so since that has already passed, I can already register for classes. And so here is the class that I'm registered for in summer. It'll show up down here. It'll show the time, the place, the teacher, all that good stuff. And then for future enrollments, there will be more blue and green lines down here for all the future enrollments that you've planned classes for. And so I'm not a current student taking classes towards a degree, and so I cannot have a registration date, but yours will be listed right here. It's probably going to be June 13th or 14th this year. And so we've got a few things to consider before we can register. All of these boxes basically have to be green. This one doesn't always have to be green, but these two always have to be green. You can't register if you have a hold. You can't register if you don't have an ecclesiastical endorsement. If you're deferred for a mission, that will most likely have you on red in this box for sure, and probably in this box as well. So you'll need to get that taken care of before you can register. So we're here under fall 2022. I've got all good down here, so I'm ready to register. So there's a few ways to go about that. There's 3 buttons that are probably the most important to when you make your schedule. We'll start with the Browse Class Schedule button. That will give you all of the courses at BYU, and you can sort them by certain features like only online classes and search based on that term, or with a certain professor through all the lists of professors. The only thing that this site doesn't do is let you register from it. So you can't actually add a class from this. It just lets you sort to find classes. And so to actually add a class, we'll go back to this tab that we were on, the Register tab up here, and press Add a Class. And so this will also let you see exactly what's on that other page, but you just can't sort it as easily as the other page where you can sort by online or professor. This only sorts by the teaching area and then the course code. So example, American Heritage, there's only one American Heritage. Okay, so we have American Heritage here, and we've got a few different terms and information to look at here. We've got how to add it to your cart, how to add it to your schedule. The cart, you can add to your cart before your add date, and then the add you can add to your cart after the add date, or add to your schedule after the add date. You've got the section. That's probably the most important thing when you're adding classes, is to remember the section number, so you don't have to remember any of this information over here when you're adding to your schedule. And so all of these sections are different in various ways, whether it's the professor that teaches it, or there's another professor down here, or the time that it's offered at, and date and place. And then also considering this second line right here, its lab is offered at a different time, date, or place. And so the lecture is the first tab, Monday, Wednesday, 9 to 9:50 in this room. That's the lecture provided by the professor. Then the second line of this section 1 is 9 to 9:50 on Thursdays in 270 of the McKay. That'll be taught by a TA or a grad assistant. And this is why the class size is so small, is because of this lab. And so you'll have this lab with the other 30 people that are in this class. But if we scroll down here, we can see that it looks like through section 9, this professor teaches all 9 of these sections in the lecture, but each of the labs is different with a different person. Some of them, it looks like, are on different days or different room numbers. And so how do we choose which of these to take, especially since we don't know who the TA is or the grad assistant that's teaching that class? And so how do we decide? So there's one way to decide. We'll return to MyMap here. And that is by just deciding what time you want to take it at. And so you can use the schedule builder to do that. You can also use the browse class schedule to find a time, sort by from only 2 to 4 p.m. classes offered in American Heritage. But the schedule builder will basically do that for you. So we'll start in here by adding American Heritage 100. So we're in the schedule builder. I'm adding that course as one that I want to take. So now it's here. Let's say I also want to take Writing 150, another very common freshman class. This is not a suggested course load, by the way. This is not specific to anybody. It's just classes that I see and am adding. Let's also add student development, essential college skills, just for fun, because it's there. Okay, so I've got these classes. These are the classes that I need to take. I also have work from 1 to 2 p.m. on Thursdays. And so I can't have a class then. And now let's just check up here to make sure everything up here is what we want. I definitely don't want to go to the Salt Lake Center, and I don't want to do study abroad. Those are unchecked automatically. But if any of these other things you want to make conditional on your schedule, please check or uncheck them. I don't want to be recommended any classes that have a full section for this situation. That means that basically those 30 slots for American Heritage, those are all full. And so I could be suggested a class, if I leave this on, that has a wait list or will have a wait list if I'm added to it. So I don't want to look at those right now. So we'll only look at empty sections. And generate schedule. This might take a moment. Looks like that was pretty fast. But now we've got the built schedule that they have. So my Student Development 100 class, they offer section 1. That's the section they think will work best with my schedule. And then section 9 for American Heritage and section 106 for Writing 150. And so then it shows down here the schedule that can work with that. It looks like one of these is on-demand remote, and so it's not even shown on my schedule because it's not a live time class that I have to go to. So my schedule looks pretty free. I'm taking about 7 credits, it looks like. You have to take 12 to be a full-time student, and often if you have a scholarship, you have to take 14 depending on the scholarship. Okay, so we have the schedule. But if I want to make any changes, if I just don't like it or whatever, I can try a different section. Maybe I'll try section 2. It looks like that's the only other option for my schedule. So it'll regenerate it and give me a different option. So now it's section 2 instead of section 1. And then I can do the same with all my other classes. Then when I want to add it, I can press this. This will not add it to your cart, it'll only add it to your schedule. And so when I'm scheduling my classes before my add date, I have to go in between this page and the add class page. We'll go back to that right now. American Heritage 100, they suggested I take section 9. Okay, so I can add this to my cart now on this page. Add it to my cart. It gives a warning, it's not being added to your schedule, just to your cart. I press the C. and it says, remember to submit your cart. You're not actually added to the class. You can see the cart by pressing this button, or when you're on MyMap on the register tab, you can click on the semester's cart button here. So now we're here in my cart. There's one class in my cart and it shows where it's at. So now I'm in my cart and I can add a class from here. It'll take me to that same page we were at before. I'll add my Writing 150 class. And it suggested section 106. Some of these aren't in order, so it might take a little bit of searching, maybe a little Control F in here. 106. Okay, and so this one's on-demand remote, that one that didn't show up on the schedule. So I add it to my cart, I acknowledge, and I acknowledge that I added it just to my cart. And so now I can go back to my cart and see what's going on. And then it's before my cart deadline, which I don't have one because I'm not a current student, but there will be a date right here. It's usually 6 p.m. the day before your registration deadline, or registration date. So if your registration date is June 13th at midnight, that's when you can make manual changes to your schedule, but your cart must be submitted by June 12th at 6 p.m. So that's 6 hours before your manual date to make changes. So I can submit my cart, I make sure it's submitted by 6 p.m. on the date that it will say right here. And I can recategorize what I think is important, add more classes, see how they fit on my schedule, and then press submit. That's the most important thing, is pressing the submit button before 6 p.m. on the day that it says on the cart right here. It also says you can't register if you have registration holds, you can't register if the class is full, and you can't go over 18 credits. This is also important for planning as well. Most students do not take 18 credits per semester. That is very rare, and often is very demanding and not great, especially for first semester freshmen. And so it is nice though to add up to 18 credits of options in your schedule, especially if you can't meet with an advisor to narrow down your schedule. And so I acknowledge all of these things. All the classes don't have prereqs. This one you do not meet the registration rules of the class. None of these have prereqs. I agree. Okay, and now I'm agreeing that I will be added to a wait list if the class is full. I'd recommend reading all of these as you go through. It's pretty self-explanatory when you read these. I want to be added to the wait list. Thank you. And my cart is submitted, and it tells me I chose to be added to wait list, available. And today's the 8th, and my date's on the 13th that I can manually change my schedule. So I can change my cart in the meantime. I can change it as many times as I want. Add a new class. I'll just add the first one that comes up. Adding to this cart, cool. But when you make a change, you have to go back and submit it again. So, okay. So I made a change, it stays submitted. So it's still submitted, and this will be final. So make sure that even if you do make changes, that they are how you're content with them, because you have submitted your cart. You can still make changes, but just make sure they're okay before 6 p.m. on the date that's right here. Very important, 6 p.m. Say it's 5 p.m. on the day that you can submit your cart. It's an hour before carts are due. And you find that all of these classes they're full, all of them. They have super long wait lists, they're full, and now you got to find an alternate schedule. You can go through the schedule builder again, just totally start from scratch, see what has open slots. You can manually do it as well through the add a class button right here, to find a class that still has spots. So these ones all have spots still and don't have a wait list, but come registration dates, they probably will not have spots. So I found a class that has some wait lists. It looks like the pickleball class is one of the most popular classes this semester so far. So 0 seats are available in all of these sections. It'll show here too, wait list, instead of the +A button for adding, it'll have the clock and the waitlist symbol. It's a 36-person class. All 36 seats are taken, and there's an additional 44 people on the waitlist. So 36 people have a spot, 44 people are waiting for a spot. These are mostly all seniors. They've all registered for this class for their date that has already passed. And so these kind of classes are hard to get into for a freshman because your registration date is further along than seniors. But you can always be added to the waitlist in the meantime. Get yourself in there just in case. But the risk of being added to a waitlist is if you have over 18 credits in your cart already and they're added to your schedule, and then you get added to a waitlist, you will not be able to add that waitlisted class because it's over 18 credits that you've had in your schedule. It also applies if, say, I got into section 1 of this class. Yay, awesome, I'm in section 1, but I don't really want to do it on Monday, Wednesdays. I prefer to do it on Tuesday, Thursdays. And so I add the waitlist for this class. But if I get into this waitlist, it will remove this section 1 from my class schedule. So section 3 would replace section 1, and I no longer am on any list for section 1 anymore. I'm in section 3, and I'm not on any other wait lists or class schedule for section 1 anymore. And that's something that can happen at any time automatically if you're added to the wait list. I mean, 20 people could drop the class overnight. That's rare, but just keep an eye on your schedule if you are in the situation where you have one class in your schedule and one on the wait list.